through repeating the same action again and again and again that it gets to being near perfect. Now, the first swerving shot that we're going to look at is the inside of the foot bend. This is the sort of free kick that David Beckham would take. Rivaldo uses this, Juninho uses this same one. In Brazil, this is known as the cavita, And we take the inside of the foot when we strike the ball, and we hit only the half to a quarter of the ball, depending on how much power we want. Lots of swerve, just a quarter. If we want some swerve and to go for power as well, maybe half the ball here. We use the inside of our foot. Different players like different techniques, and I think you should try and use different parts of the inside of your foot here and see what you prefer. Rivaldo uses the end toe here, okay? David Beckham uses more the middle of the foot. I prefer this area here. You'll only find out which you prefer through practice. If we're looking to get a little bit of height on the ball, we'll come underneath the ball as well and we'll have to lean back. So I think in the beginning, when we're trying to practice this, we shouldn't use the goal. This is both passing practice and shooting practice. A shot is a pass into a certain part of the goal. We don't need a net to do this practice. We can use our partner. Okay? So if I use James, and just over maybe 7-8 metres, all I'm going to do is ask James to put his hands in the air. Now James, his hands, they represent the top corner of the goal where I'm going to look to put the ball. Okay? So if I can be accurate, I just want to dink the ball into the space between his hands, and hopefully he won't have to move his legs very much. So I'm going to swing the ball slightly out to his left and then into his hands, nice and gentle. And over this distance, I'm just getting used to the correct movement and the correct run-up. The run-up is vital. I can often tell if a young player is going to hit one of these kicks correctly or not correctly just by the run-up. Okay, James? Okay, it's a bit low, so I need to hit the ball further down to get it up. Okay? Now, when we've got used to doing that over a shorter distance, I can pull James back. Okay, if you go back a little bit, James, about twice the distance. And I can do the same, exactly the same practice, but look to get a little bit more distance. It's actually better because it's more realistic to taking a free kick in a game. And if I'm trying to get bend on a ball over a short distance, it can sometimes be difficult because the ball only starts to swing in once the power on the ball has decreased. Okay? That bent nicely, but it was a bit low. We're going to look at the banana shot, the outside of the foot bend, that's known in Brazil as the trivela, which means 3 toes. And there is 2 ways that we can do this. We can either, as a shot, use the 3 toes to connect with half of the ball. This was the thing that Roberto Carlos did in the 1997 Le Tournoi, that fantastic free kick against Fabian Barthez. Or we can use the top of the toes here, and that's more useful as a pass because it won't be as powerful as the toes, but we'll get more accuracy. And this was commonly used by Dunga, who was the Brazilian captain in the 1994 and 1998 World Cups. So again, I'm going to use James. And first, James, I'll use the toes area, okay, which would be more a shot. You ready? So if you can catch these. That was a nice one. Okay, so this run-up is a lot more straight than the curved run-up. That bent nicely to the inside of the foot. And this is fantastic as a shot because we're using the toes. It's very, very hard. If we now move to the top of the toes, we won't get the same power, but we should get a little bit more accuracy. And this is better as a pass. The third effect that we're going to put on the ball is backspin. Backspin isn't so much use for shooting at the goal unless the goalkeeper's off his line, because when we put backspin on the ball will sit up and hang in the air, and it's going to give the goalkeeper more time to see it. But backspin is very good for putting on a ball that you're passing to one of your teammates, particularly if he stood in space. And some of the fabulous passes that David Beckham uses, he uses the technique that I'll show you now with backspin. If we pass over a short distance, we can get the backspin with a slightly different technique. James, just come into me a little bit closer. Okay, we can come to the ball and stab it and not follow through, and we'll get some backspin on the ball. That's no use over a long distance. And the technique that Beckham uses for his long passing, and players for Brazil like Cafu and Roberto Carlos who'll switch the ball over the wings, is to come down through the top of the ball as we kick, stroke through the bottom, and we'll then come up and get backspin on the ball. As I say, for a shot, it's better if the keeper's off his line. If not, this is a technique you do not normally use for passing. Okay, so if you're ready, Waleed, yes? Plenty of backspin on it. Okay, James, to you. Ready? We'll finally look at putting topspin on the ball. It's a very, very difficult skill, and there's few players, even at the professional level, who can do it. In Brazil, the ball with topspin is known as the falling leaf, the folha celia, and it was made famous by Didi, the player who did so well in the '58 World Cup and won the World Championship with Brazil that year. The ball's hit very hard with the toes and will lift up. Once the power on the ball decreases with topspin, the ball falls very quickly, like a leaf dropping from a tree, and it was this free kick that Ronaldinho used against David Seaman. People said it was a fluke. It wasn't. He's done that many times before. He did it for his club Grêmio on 3 occasions. So, very, very difficult. If we think of tennis, or table tennis, we hit the bat on the ball. To get topspin is not too difficult. With football, it is difficult because the ball is on the floor and it's hard to get under it. But I'll do my best. Okay, James? Yeah? Ready? There you go, that was perfect. So it went high,